Good morning, traders. This is your daily market breakdown on the GBP USD on the 4-hour time frame. We have been seeing lots of breaks of structures and pushes into the downside. We are now beginning to see quite a big reaction happening around this weekly demand zone, and we can quite clearly see that liquidity has now been taken that was resting below one of the weekly lows. And we are now beginning to see those signs of a potential push back into the upside. And if any of you have been trading pullbacks, then you may have found quite a bit of success here. As when it originally came down into this demand zone, there was a reaction breaking market structure, pushing the price back up. However, although, yes, if you were doing a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward ratio from this area, so when it pushes up, it comes back and then you enter into that market, it didn't continue into the upside. And that's quite concerning, because then we saw this push back into the downside, grabbing whatever liquidity was resting below this area. And now we're beginning to see that push back up on the 4-hour frame with a break of structure. It's a wick break, so it's a weak break. However, we are seeing that original push up. So what I'm waiting for is to see what happens once it re-enters into this box. If there is more struggle and resistance, and on the lower time frames, if we see a little bit of a push up, I may actually enter into a long, trying to target these previous highs up here. Heading over to the euro dollar, a very similar strategy that I'm employing. We are in a downtrend, and we can confirm this on a whole range of different time frames. But we'll just look at the 4-hour frame for now. We are in that downtrend. We are seeing breaks of structure, but we are now seeing that original struggle as well. Very similar to what we've seen on the GBP USD. So yes, we've got that break of structure, but it's a wick break. It's not a clean full body break. If it was, fantastic. And now what I'm waiting to see is what happens when it re-enters into this box. On the lower frames, if we start to see strong signs of reactions or some types of reversals, I may be looking at something such as this, right? Something really small within the lower time frames. But on the larger time frames, if we do see that change of character on like the 15-minute, hopefully the hourly, that would be fantastic. And then we'll probably be looking at doing something such as this and capitalizing on a 1 to 2.5 risk to reward ratio, right? If it continues pushing up, I would then wait for that pullback again. So if we do see that push up, we TP, come back down, I'll probably re-enter again into the upside, right? So that's what I'm looking at the moment on the euro dollar. But just keep in mind, this is pullback trading, and you're kind of going against the trend, and it's not usually advised to do that. Heading over to USD JPY, as I keep on mentioning, I do not enjoy trading this pair because it's just so messy. We're seeing just all these huge movements, these wicked candles pushing everywhere. And so if you had your stop loss, let's say a really good stop loss as well, you may have been stopped out numerous times because of these long wicked candles. And this is not really a fun thing to be doing when you're trading, especially prop trading. However, what we're seeing at the moment are breaks of structure into the upside. We are pushing up. We are now beginning to see that momentum slowing down. This yellow box, this giant zone of yellow here, is a long-term, really long-term ceiling of resistance on the USD JPY. And we have touched it. What we could see happening is the price goes up again a little bit more, creating a new higher high, but then we might see a really strong rejection into the downside. What I am waiting for at the moment is, I think it's on the hour, let's drop down to the hour, is I'm waiting for a full body break below this low. If I see that full body break below that low, then I'm likely going to enter into a position with TPs hitting this potential liquidity, or a continuation down to this area or this potential liquidity. I mean, we could go as far as this liquidity, but then that would be a change of character into the downside. But those would be where I would be taking profit if I'm in those shorting positions, considering we're at a very careful or a very unique part of the market, which is this really strong ceiling of resistance. I would be a bit cautious on taking those longs beyond that, because then that really will be all-time highs for the USD JPY within the present day. So I'd be a little bit cautious there. And as we know, whenever we hit ceilings of resistance, we often see quite a strong pullback and potentially trend reversals. So I'll be a little bit cautious on that. But that is my setup on USD JPY. Let's head over to the DXY, and this kind of plays in quite nicely into our other major pairs and what we're actually looking at. because what we're seeing here is that there was a really nice push up on the DXY. It came down, it broke market structure with a wick break, bit of a weak break though, as we know. And then the price tried to come up again, trying to create a new higher high. So what we're seeing here is a push up, push down, push up, failure to breach this high, and then a push down, breaking market structure. This is signaling to me that the market is considering reversing into the downside, which is what we've been waiting for so long, and I've been getting it wrong over the last month. This is what we've been waiting for, because even back here, we were waiting for that fail to break before entering. Very similar thing, come up, push up, and come down, but it didn't. It broke structure, and it continued into the upside. This one now, we're seeing it push up, come down, push up, failing, and breaking structure into the downside. So hopefully what we're going to see is that this remains unbroken. If it remains unbroken, then we are likely going to start heading down on the DXY. So hopefully that is going to occur. And if it does, then it's going to push all of our major currency pairs into the upside, except for the USD JPY, right? Let's head over to XAU gold. Yeah, again, we are trending down. Good Lord, it has just gone from such a high. I think from the height of it was around the 5,000 mark, surely. We just pushed all the way down, all these breaks of structures down here. We've seen a very, very strong break of structure. So we are technically looking at shorting opportunities with this continuation into the downside. However, what we can also see is that on the 4-hour frame, we have entered into the weekly demand. This is this big green zone that we are in at this point in time. And on the even lower parts of the time frame, we can see it came down, it pushed back up, it came down again, it failed to create a new lower low, but instead it pushed up, create and broke market structure here, right? So what I'm waiting for at the moment is I'm waiting to see what happens when it enters into this box. If it enters into that box, of course. I mean, if you're trading on the lower time frames and you're looking for shorting opportunities, this might be a pretty nice time to enter into those positions, putting your TP within this range here. Okay. I'm not doing that. I'm just generally waiting to see what happens when it enters into this box. If there is a lot of rejection, and we see like a bit of a breaker structure on the lower time frames, then I am looking to enter the position from here, doing something such as this. I'd be like trying to target these previous highs up here, doing something like that. If the price continues going down and we see another full body break, and so if it fails, so if this support level fails, then we're likely just going to continue into downside on XAU. Sorry, I didn't do the analysis for where it could end up. I can do that a little bit later, but if I were to guess, because of this demand zone, I would be looking at something around this mark here, right? That would be my next, if it continued to push into the downside, this would be roughly around the region I would look at TPing from that position. Heading over to BTC USDT, it has, oh my goodness, we thought this was a good area. We thought this was the best region. We thought this was the best region for a potential trend reversal. What a huge shame. Big letdown, because all of our technicals, all of our confirmations were showing changes of character, pushing into the upside. Look at that, beautiful. Almost getting there, almost going from 59,000 to 67,000. We were getting there, and then we just saw this push all the way down. So really sorry, traders, to any of you who were entering into those long opportunities and got stopped out. Although any of you that were trading those pullbacks, basically taking these small long entries, I mean, congratulations if you TP'd. Well done. Fantastic stuff. We can see that the price on BTC pushed up, grabbed whatever liquidity was potentially resting above this area. It got rejected strongly, and we can confirm that with this long wicked candle here. And then just continue pushing into the downside. On the live stream, you can see this is where I put the potential opportunity for anybody who was looking to short. This was not a personal trade of mine. It was just during the live stream. I added that. And we can see it did actually play out, which is fantastic. We now saw a breaker structure here. What I'm waiting for, and what I've set up here, is two potential scenarios that we might see, where the price could push up again to around this level and then start to push down, or we could see that continuation down, breaking market structure, so breaking that low, coming back up again, failing to break this high. Sorry if I'm not being very clear. Failing to break this high, and then continuation into the downside. So those are the two potential scenarios that I've got if BTC continues into the downside. Anyway, guys, there it is. That is your daily market breakdown. Thank you for watching.